third piece we'd like to talk a little bit about, and I mentioned this earlier, is the concept of strategic risk. And there are no clear or there are no standard definitions of this, but I think a useful definition of strategic risk is some risk that could potentially impact your basic business model and business strategy, the way you operate, the way you distribute business, the kind of business that you want to distribute, and the kind of businesses you want to be in. And there are a lot of disruptors going on in the industry that many of you, I expect, are familiar with, that at the outset are going to have an impact on a business's strategy. And that riskiness, that strategic riskiness, is already there. IFRS 17, we think, is going to add more information, add more color to that, and in fact, to some extent, exacerbate that risk. IFRS 17 really alters how a company displays its profitability, really alters what is considered, for example, premium, and brings it closer to the way other businesses, including banks, including asset managers, report on their business. Now, that change is going to highlight certain riskiness of businesses. It's going to highlight the kind of capital that those businesses need to run, to continue to prosper, and the profitability that gets returned to the investors and other stakeholders for the capital that's being held is going to be quite clearly displayed. So a lot of mature businesses, particularly in the U.S., that are going to be highlighted in terms of their profitability or loss relative to the capital they consume. It's going to be interesting to see how companies deal with that display of lack of profitability in that business. And what they do about that, how that lack of profitability relative to capital consumed makes them look relative to other investment opportunities, such as banks and asset managers. And so that display for a lot of these so-called legacy businesses of the lack of sufficient return relative to capital expended is going to require them to, I think, deal with that business in a decisive way as to whether they want to continue to write it, if they don't want to continue to write it, what they're going to do about their existing businesses. So this strategic risk that's applied to that business and all of the other factors and forces that are impacting that business is going to be further exacerbated by the application of IFRS 17.